Tia Mowry says you can graduate out of marriage. This chick is Arkham certified. Coming to paperback and e-readers, from the author of the critically acclaimed book The Man Crisis comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women are becoming lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Pre-order your copy of The Woman Crisis on Amazon.com today. I know y'all tired of the Tia Mowry videos, but this woman keeps putting her foot in her mouth and saying the most absolutely insane things, and I just have to go out here and correct these statements, because the misinformation she is presenting to young women can be damaging to them if they go out here and follow her model of absolutely dysfunctional behavior. Now, your Tia Mowry has been on a tear ever since she went out here and filed for divorce from her husband, Corey Hardick, a few months ago. And ever since she filed for divorce from your Corey Hardick, she has been making absolutely insane statements, such as saying that she had a successful marriage, even though said marriage ended in divorce, and believes that her marriage was a success, even though when you go and file for divorce, it is a sign that your marriage failed. Now, in addition to this, your Tia Mowry has also come out and said that she is eager to be a single mother of her 2 kids, basically minimizing the role of Corey Hardick, the father of those children, and looks forward to going out here and being the single mom, romanticizing the idea that single motherhood is an ideal situation for women, even though I live in the South Bronx and see how many of those women struggle and suffer because there is no husband in their lives to go out here and set a direction for the family and help this woman as related to maintaining a home and establishing order and structure for her children. I see the chaos that goes on every day that single mothers go through here in the Bronx, but your Tia Mowry has on rose-colored glasses and is romanticizing the idea that being a single mother is something that women should aspire to be, even though most women who become single mothers don't ever want that to be their life outcome. Now, your Tia Mowry, in addition to this, is now talking about how she's graduated from marriage, and that whole statement is completely insane, because if your marriage ends in a divorce, you did not graduate. No, you failed, and you're suffering a major life setback. But your Tia Mowry wants us to believe that she is graduating to go to another level, even though she has fallen several levels behind as related to this thing called life. Now, according to the Bible I read and the God that I serve, marriage is considered to be the definition of success for a woman. Now, when it comes down to a woman, in most cases, her ultimate goal is to go out here and get married. And this is something I just talk about in detail in my book, The Woman Crisis. The getting married is a sign that a woman is ready to graduate into womanhood and ready to go out here and forsake her mother and father and go out here and cleave to her husband. And as they become one under the Most High God, they can go out here and do the work of the Most High on earth. So a marriage is a graduation for a woman and a man into manhood, and it is a graduation that says that that man and that woman are ready to go out here and be stewards, that go out here and are ready to be responsible and accountable to the Most High God. However, your Tia Mowry wants us to believe that you can graduate out of marriage. And that really shows me how deep the Jezebel spirit is misleading her. And that Jezebel spirit has your Tia Mowry thinking that she can go another way outside of the Messiah and the Most High as part of God's order. No, your Tia Mowry wants to go out here and drink the poisoned feminist Kool-Aid, which has many women believing that they can go out here and graduate to womanhood by having a career. And under the whole feminist paradigm, many of these women believe that they are graduating to womanhood by going out here and getting their college degree, going out here and getting a job and working in corporate America and marrying themselves to corporate bosses. Unfortunately, that road is outside of the Most High, and it does not lead to the happiness that your Tia Mowry wants to go out here and pursue. No, instead of graduating to womanhood, where your Tia Mowry was, she is now trying to regress to the childhood that the state has established for most of America's women. And with the state, they want to keep the woman in a state of arrested development where she continues to remain about 16 to 19-year-olds mentally, even though her body is 44 years old. Your Tia Mowry wants to go back to being like she was when she was 16 to 19 years old and was the girl next door that every guy wanted to get with when she was on the show Sister Sister. Unfortunately, your Tia Mowry wants to grow old and doesn't want to grow up, and I believe that the passing of several relatives has her in fear of her own mortality, not to mention all of the gray hairs that she had in many Instagram photos. And because she fears her mortality, she doesn't want to graduate into womanhood and get older and be a wise older woman. No, what she wants to do is continue to be an immature young woman in an older woman's body. And this is where your Tia Mowry is just showing how dysfunctional she is, because instead of going out here and taking the responsibility of womanhood, she wants to stay in childhood, because you're sitting there talking about how you're graduating by going out here and walking away from the Most High God's graduation, which is marriage, into going into this whole feminist narrative, which is just going to make it where you are regressing mentally and going out here and being immature instead of rising to a level of maturity to be a responsible steward at the side of your husband and a responsible helpmeet to help meet his needs as you're both working to raise two children to grow up to become healthy adults. No, this woman in crisis would rather try to remain holding on to her childhood instead of graduating up into womanhood. And that's where your Tia Mowry just has it completely backwards, because divorcing your husband is not a graduation. It just is a sign that somebody just has failed at being an adult, and what they want to do is abdicate the responsibilities of adulthood to get to a place that's called so-called happy. Now, I believe your Tia Mowry needs to go out here and read The Woman Crisis, because she's definitely a woman in crisis, just like I saw in Terry McMillan's book, Getting to Happy, where these women they grew old, but they never grew up, and they still were participating in the same dysfunctional behaviors that they were in their 30s. Now that these women are in their 50s and their 60s, your Robin, your Savannah, your Bernadine, and your Gloria, they are just a complete wreck in this book. And this book proved to be a major disaster for Terry McMillan's career, and it proved to be a major disaster for the publisher that produced it. But it showed a picture of women like a Tia Mowry who want to graduate from womanhood by divorcing husbands and winding up further into misery. And I would also tell your Tia Mowry to go see the follow-up to the Sex and the City movies, the series that's on HBO Max, where you can go see more of these women who graduated from divorce and the death of their husbands into misery and just dysfunction because they followed the feminist paradigm of success, not understanding that the feminist paradigm of success is a paradigm of failure that takes most women to bust downtown. And your Tia Mowry went off a road of an abundant life under the Most High God to going on a road to bust downtown. And what's really sad is that she was the one who went out here and bought the tickets to that residence where she will be residing with her contemporaries like your Jada Pinkett, your Vivica Fox, your Halle Berry, your Lisa Ray, and many others out here. This is the place where many of these women who were considered to be the hottest women in the 90s are going to wind up sitting, waiting for the last day of their life as they stare out at a view of the graveyard. That's where most of these women are sadly going to wind up because they decided to go out here and follow the feminist paradigm, which led to them becoming women in crisis who are on the last stop of life, which is bust downtown. And all of these women, again, wanted to get to happy and are now on a road to misery. And again, when I listen to Tia Mowry, she's sitting here talking about, oh, I've graduated from marriage. That is one of the most asinine statements I have ever heard and one of the most insane ones. And it's just completely crazy because you don't graduate out of marriage. No, the way you graduate into womanhood is by going out here and getting married, because when you are getting married, what you are doing is forsaking your mother and your father to stand at the side of your husband, and both of you are going to stand together and have faith in the Most High God to meet your needs as you build a family and teach the gospel of Jesus Christ or the Messiah to your children. And as you're teaching that gospel of the Messiah to the children and teaching them about his gift of salvation, this is how you fulfill your life in this world. But your Tia Mowry, she has walked away from God, and she's walking on a dark and wide road, that has one end, and that end is to darkness and the graveyard, and spiritually it's a road to the lake of fire. But many women, they sit there and they'll listen to this foolishness that she's talking, and that's one of the things I have to step in on, because to sit there and tell people, oh, I'm graduating from marriage. No, you don't graduate from marriage. When you have a divorce, your marriage is a failure, and when you deliberately fail a marriage and call it a success, that really shows that a woman is completely spiritually lost and basically, as I see it, completely Arkham certified, because only an insane woman would sit here and say, oh, the end of my marriage was a success when it ended in failure, and then said I'm going to graduate to something else. When you're not graduating, you're failing at every turn, and you're sitting there looking for so-called happiness, but there is no happy coming to Tia Mowry, and sadly, there is nothing going to come to her but misery at the end of the day. Now, if you want to learn why many women like Tia Mowry wind up on a road to dysfunction, you can pick up my book, The Woman Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Woman Crisis on other online booksellers like Smashwords, Barnes & Noble, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos about celebrities in crisis, Like Tia Mowry, you can donate to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many Black women can't find a husband and why 70% of Black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today.